Today on Monkey Life.
Morning, Jim.
Alison goes to the rescue of 4 more marmosets. But there's a surprise in store.
I think we definitely have 2 different species here.
It's all change at the Orang nursery to make room for a baby who's on his way from Hungary.
It's very, very important that he can meet other young orangs and possibly foster mothers.
And a specially built enclosure to keep baby woolly Bueno Jr safe. Monkey World in Dorset, nestled deep in the English countryside, is the largest sanctuary of its kind on the planet. The team, led by Dr. Alison Cronin, rescues and rehabilitates abused and unwanted primates from all over the world.
We've really done everything we can to make her journey as smooth as possible.
The park provides a home for more than 240 monkeys and apes, allowing them to live out their lives in safety and peace. The recent influx of marmosets to the park is continuing to be a problem. Building work has started on a new marmoset complex, but it'll be a while before it's ready to take any residents. Today, Alison is heading north to Cheshire to pick up 4 more little monkeys, once again victims of the British pet trade. She's been contacted by a pub landlord who's moving out and can't take them with him. But she's confused about the information she's been given.
The photographs that came through, it's very clear to me that he doesn't have a group of common marmosets. He has a female common marmoset and what appears to be 2 completely different species. And it would seem that the males have mated, one of the males has mated with the female, and they've produced a hybrid offspring that looks like a common marmoset.
This is becoming an increasing problem. Unscrupulous dealers are selling primates as one species, when in fact they're something entirely different. And the landlord of this pub is just one of many people who have been duped. He bought the monkeys to attract families into the pub, but now he wants them to live in a more natural environment.
Morning, Jim.
Jim McPhee is one of the better owners. He's tried to give the marmosets a decent home by building a large outdoor enclosure and feeding them the correct diet. But like so many owners, he doesn't have the knowledge to look after them properly, and he's had to spend a lot of money.
And for the 3 marmosets, how much did you pay?
I paid £3,900. Approximately everything probably costs something in the region of about 8,000 to 10,000 an hour.
It's very sad.
Inside, the monkeys are being kept in a birdcage.
Hey, you, so you're one of the little men?
Hi, you. Oh, your ears are laid back.
Not common marmosets, I don't believe.
So Alison's suspicions are confirmed. Jim thought he'd been sold 3 common marmosets by the pet shop, but he was wrong.
I've seen 3 of the marmosets, the 3 adults, and I think we definitely have 2 different species here. But, you know, once again, I'll reserve judgment until we get them back to the park and they come out of their nest box and we can see them moving around. But the 2 boys look distinctly different to me than a common marmoset, so my gut instinct says that we have 2 different species.
Along with the 3 adult marmosets, there's also a baby, which belongs to the female.
So it's baby rice or baby milk?
There's different types. I give them various, I think I've given them about 3 different types, banana flavoured.
Jim gives Alison a detailed list of the food he's been giving the monkeys. It's clear he's made a big effort to try to care for them properly. These marmosets are lucky in having had a good owner. In most of the cases Alison sees, they're in a much worse state.
All really good, and he's done a really nice things, and we'll take good care of his monkeys. So, we'll see you later. I'll give you a shout as soon as we get back home.
So it's all changed for these little marmosets. In just a few hours' time, they'll get the first glimpse of their new home. Back in Dorset, the orangs are having another reshuffle. Hsiao-quai and her adopted daughter Awan are moving back to the nursery. There they'll rejoin Hsiao-quai's two sons, 7-year-old Kai and 5-year-old Jin. They're swapping places with best friends Linga and Dinda, who are now old enough to join Tuan's group. The reason for the switch lies in the Hungarian capital, Budapest. The zoo there has asked Monkey World for help because they have a young male Sumatran orangutan in need of a new home. Bulu Mata, whose name translates as eyelashes, has had to be hand-reared for the last 3 months because his mum tragically died when he was only a few days old. Monkey World runs the European creche for orphaned orangutans, and the primate care staff have years of experience in looking after youngsters, so it's the obvious place for Bulu to go.
We had a contact with Monkey World, and I was very, very pleased to get a very, very positive answer that they are really ready to receive this animal. It's very important in the future of this orangutan, particularly in terms of social life, because the general care we can give him. It's very, very important that he can meet other young orangs and possibly foster mothers. And our decision was that Monkey World and the technology and the daily routine what Monkey World is doing at the orangutan nursery should be probably the best option.
The keepers at Budapest Zoo have been socialising Bulu with the other orangs, including his dad and sister, as much as possible, so that he doesn't become too human-focused.
We hope that it will help him during the introduction process in Monkey World. He can smell, the others can a little bit touch him, he can feel an orang. So for the future perspective, I think it's going to be very, very hopeful.
It's hoped that Hsiao-quai will act as surrogate mum to Bulu, which is why she's been brought back to the nursery. She's very maternal and over the years has proved to be a great mother figure. And she took on Awan when her mum rejected her. An added bonus is that she's still producing milk. But whether her milk is of a good enough quality or quantity, no one knows. And it is a gamble that she'll look after Bulu. The team are hoping her instincts will kick in once again when she sets eyes on him. There are several reasons why babies can end up on their own. Sometimes, like Bulu, they're orphaned, but sometimes they're rejected by their mums. Little woolly monkey Bueno Jr has had to be hand-reared since he was born because his mum Sarah had a traumatic birth and didn't want to look after him. The team goes to extraordinary lengths to care for these vulnerable youngsters. Bueno Jr has now joined Levar's group full-time, but staff are having to build a brand new large pen to allow him to go outside because he's still so small and vulnerable.
He doesn't have a mum to look after him, and when he finally decides that he wants to go outside, if we were to let him into the big open enclosure that the rest of the group use right now, he would be open to all sorts of threats from the sky, for example, like buzzards and things like that. So this actually has a roof on it now, it's a mesh roof. So he can still see the sky, but nothing can get to him. So he's going to learn what trees are and what the grass is and all sorts of things out here before he's then big enough to go out into the big enclosure.
The team is going to get the whole group to test the enclosure, so they've brought some tasty treats to tempt them outside. The woolies watch on, intrigued.
Ready? Yeah, go it.
They all seem eager to explore. Leader Levar immediately gets territorial and starts scent marking. While dominant female Paquita, who loves her food, heads straight for the fruit. As does Kuna, the other adult female in the group. Boys will be boys, and boisterous Bronco gives the new hoses and cargo net a test run. Lavar is happy to leave him to it. The younger woolies haven't appeared yet. Paquita's daughter Isla cautiously ventures in. But her younger brother Manny is nervous. The older monkeys try to coax him in by calling to let him know where they are. But he's scared and stays put. Bronco, who's like the uncle of the group, takes matters into his own hands and offers Manny a ride.
Bronco has actually nominated himself the protector of this group. He's just really nice, especially when it comes to the youngsters. He adores his females, and whenever they have babies, he's just right there beside them, making sure that the babies are okay. So it's actually quite nice to see Bronco do this.
Manny looks a little bewildered, but at least he is outside. The reason this new enclosure was built was because of Bueno Jr, but he's still in the bedroom.
Come on, Junior. Come on out. Come on in. Rick.
And no amount of encouragement from Sandra is persuading him to budge.
Come on, Junior. Let's go. Come on. Bueno Junior, unfortunately, hasn't made it out as yet. At the moment, he's quite happy having breakfast in a bedroom. We'll continue to try and encourage him down to this side of the house, and hopefully he might step out. But it's just a waiting game at the moment.
Baby woolies are carried around by their mums for up to 2 years, so it's not surprising Junior is so reticent. He's having to do everything on his own, and it's a steep learning curve. But he's gaining in confidence every day, and hopefully he'll soon be able to enjoy his newly built outdoor space as much as his new family are. Alison is just arriving back at the park with 4 new marmosets after a long journey from Cheshire. There are 2 males, 1 female, and a baby, but Alison is still unsure of their specific species.
We can make a decision about what we think they all are.
The family are going to be put in a bedroom together for the time being, until the primate care staff have had a chance to see how well they all get on together. They seem eager to explore their new surroundings, and the first signs are hopeful.
Of course, this is the first time I've actually been able to see them move and run because they were all tucked up this morning, so they look pretty good. She's definitely in charge and quite stocky and robust. The boys look sort of scrawny, but that might be because just the fur's missing and they look that way. So we'll keep an eye on them, and the youngster's fine and very independent because right now the 3 adults are sort of sticking in this side and the youngster's over in the room next door.
The 3 adult marmosets have already got names. The large female is called Little Red. She's a common marmoset. But the 2 males are a puzzle. One is called Brass, and the other is Evie. The dealer who sold him originally said he was a she. But the baby has yet to be named, and animal manager Jeremy has had an idea.
Jeremy hit the nail on the head. Basset, because he's all sorts. So he's got all sorts mixed up in there.
In the wild, marmosets live in small family groups, and that's how the team like them to live here at the park. Hopefully, these 4 will get along harmoniously, but if for any reason there are problems, they could separate Little Red off and put her in with another male.
We'll have to wait and see how they develop and how their relationship goes and if they stick together. But really pleased, they're looking good.
Another new arrival seems to be getting on like a house on fire with his new roommate. Cotton-top tamarin Hsiao-quai was brought to Monkey World to pair up with the park's existing cotton-top, Uncas. Uncas lost his partner Alice a while ago and had been teamed up with Sarky monkey Jethro, who was also on his own. But they fell out and had to be separated. So when Hsiao-quai appeared, it seemed like a match made in heaven for Uncas. And since they've been together, he's been much happier.
This is definitely an old geriatric couple. We don't know Uncas's age, but you just have to look at him and see that he's getting on a little bit now. He's in his latter stages of life. And Hsiao-quai himself is really elderly as well. He's about 18 years old, which is really quite old for a cotton-top tamarin. So, yeah, they're both, none of them are spring chickens, so, you know, you don't see them flying around the enclosure. But if you see one, you'll definitely see the other. They don't spend an awful lot of time apart from each other.
In the wild, cotton tops feed on, amongst other things, sap from trees, which gives them many of the minerals and nutrients they need. In captivity, this is substituted by a natural gum made from hardened sap.
The tamarins absolutely love the gum. It's probably their favourite time of the day. Along with the insects, yeah, it's definitely a favourite. Come on!
Uncas has a healthy appetite. He's using his long tongue to lick the gum out of the holes in the log. Hsiao-quai isn't far behind. In the wild, cotton tops gouge out holes in the bark of trees with their teeth to get to the sap. Cotton top tamarins are one of the most endangered primates in South America. There are less than 1,000 of them left in the wild. They get their name from the long white hair flowing around their black faces, like a mane of white cotton. The keepers haven't made it easy for Uncas and Hsiao-quai. They've suspended the logs around the enclosure to encourage the two cotton tops to get some exercise. Hanging them on ropes tests their agility, balance, and strength.
It's still really important to keep them active, to keep them busy. If we just made everything simple for them, then what's the point really? They're just going to sit there and get old. So anything that we can do to keep them busy, as long as they're obviously still able to do it, it's still important to try and keep them stimulated.
Cotton tops are social animals, so it's great that Uncas now has another friend to grow old with. At Hernania's house, the chimps still seem rather dejected after the tragic death of one of Cherri's twins, her 2-week-old daughter Louise. But the post-mortem has proved interesting.
Little Louise had a hole in her heart. And it was 2 to 3 millimeters in size. Now that doesn't actually sound very big, but if you look at the tip of, say, a pen, that's probably about 2 to 3 millimeters. And if you put high pressure fluid behind it, i.e. a heart pumping blood from one side to the other, that's a fair amount of fluid that's not going the correct direction, let's put it that way. As it happens, the post-mortem can at least relieve our concerns and worries that we missed something. There was no way we could have known that Louise had a hole in her heart. So good to know. Doesn't make me feel any better, and I'm still terribly sad for Cherri and terribly sad for the group and for Velma, who gets to grow up in the group, albeit a fun group, but it would have been nice if she had her sister with her to sort of grow up together and be able to play together.
Morning, guys!
To try to cheer the chimps up, the primate care staff have planted coconuts and chestnuts all over the enclosure. Chimps are very intelligent, but these can be hard nuts to crack. Hanania is so busy putting on a display for the others that he's missing out. High-ranking Johnny knows with so many chimps around, you have to grab what you can, when you can. A philosophy Simon also subscribes to, although he prefers chestnuts to coconuts. The boss is still too busy throwing his weight around to notice the treats are disappearing fast. Grabbing the coconuts is one thing, getting into them something else, and all the chimps have different techniques. Tutti is nothing if not determined. And eventually, perseverance pays off. For some. Johnny hasn't had any success so far, and is now trying brute force, but still getting nowhere. Clever Tico, who is second in command, is using his brains. He's sharpening a stick and pushing it into the husk to get at the milk, watched by an admiring honey. Peggy has her own individual style. Slowly, they do start to reap the rewards. Meanwhile, Cherri is looking after her remaining twin, Thelma. Even before Louise died, there was concern amongst the team as to whether Cherri would continue to care for her babies, but she's proving her doubters wrong.
Right now I'm feeling pretty optimistic and good. Actually, more optimistic and good than I was when she had the twins. So I think, and I'm very hopeful, and I'm touching a lot of wood right now, that Cherri will be able to look after Thelma and that she'll be able to grow up in Hananya's group fit and strong.
The events of recent weeks seem to have brought the chimps closer together. Babies are very important in chimp society, and Cherri will have plenty of help bringing up her little girl. Thelma may have lost her sister, but she's gained a lot of doting aunts and uncles. Next time on Monkey Life, all eyes are on Hsiao-quai to see if she will become baby Bulu's new mum.
Things are going to take a little bit of time, and that's okay.
And a friend at last for downtrodden stumpie Phil.
They are getting on really well, and it's really nice to see.
This time on Monkey Life, baby Bulu needs a mum, but will Hsiao-quai step up to the mark?
You are conditioned to leave other people's babies alone. It can be really dangerous.
Exciting news for woolly monkey Xingu.
We've finally got our baby that we've been waiting for a very long time.
And flirty Scarlet uses all her charms to try to woo boss Erico. Monkey World in Dorset, buried deep in the English countryside, is the largest sanctuary of its kind on the planet. The team, led by Dr. Alison Cronin, rescues and rehabilitates abused and unwanted primates from all over the world.
This is no done deal. I don't know if he's going to make it or not.
The park provides a home for more than 240 monkeys and apes from 21 different species. At the Orang nursery, all eyes are on Hsiao-quai. Today, she'll be meeting a new baby orang who's just arrived from Budapest Zoo. The team are keeping their fingers crossed that her maternal instincts will kick in and she'll take him under her wing. Bulu Mata is only 3 months old. His mum tragically died a few days after he was born, and he's had to be hand-reared ever since. Yesterday, he and his keepers made the long journey from Hungary to Dorset because they believe Monkey World is the best place for him. The park has the European creche for orphaned orangutans, and the staff have years of experience in looking after babies. Hsiao-quai, for her part, is very experienced at bringing up youngsters. She has 2 children of her own, Kai and Jin, and she stepped into the breach when Awan's mum rejected her at birth and has taken on the little girl as her own. So the team are hoping she'll take a shine to Bulu too. Another point in her favour is that she's still feeding Awan, so she may have enough milk to give Bulu. But it's all guesswork.
We'll give it a go. It's the first day, you know, and he's traveled a long way and everybody's a little bit tired, but sometimes you're better taking advantage of the disarray and the confusion, and oh, I'm being scooped up by a new mother orangutan. And let's see how we go.
Bulu has arrived at the nursery with his carer Bernadette. She takes him straight over to Hsiao-quai so that they can meet each other through the mesh. She does reach out to touch his little fingers. So far, so good. Bulu also gets the chance to say hello to Oisin and Sylvester while he's there. Hsiao-quai and Awan, who still spends a lot of time with her adoptive mum, watch with interest as Bulu is placed in the bedroom opposite them. The moment of truth. The team are all hoping Hsiao-quai will bundle the vulnerable little orang into her arms. As soon as the slide between the bedrooms is opened, she heads straight in to see him. Bulu is squeaking because he wants to be cuddled. Hsiao-quai hovers at the entrance, but keeps her distance. She's worried she'll be separated from the others in the nursery, so heads back.
There you go, an orange person. Yes, oh, it's all good again.
Animal manager Jeremy comforts the little orang.
So we bit the bullet. Ideal solution would have been for her to just swing into the room, scoop the baby up, hold him to her breast, and everything's done. But, you know, that's not what happened. Things are going to take a little bit of time, and that's okay too. We've got all of the time in the world.
Jeremy doesn't want to lose the momentum, so takes Bulu back over to Hsiao-quai. But he understands her reaction.
You are conditioned to leave other people's babies alone. There is an instinct that says, do not mess with other people's babies. It can be really dangerous. You know, mum might have just put it down for a minute and she might be back. And incurring the wrath of a mother by messing about with this baby is not a good idea. So what Hsiao-quai did was good, was okay. Just give her some time.
The team decides to make up a bed for Bulu in the tunnel between the two bedrooms, so he can be close to the others, and Hsiao-quai can come over when she feels ready. The orangs watch on, fascinated. Bulu looks a little bewildered, but has calmed down and is ready for a nap.
Everything can happen in time. Slow is better than fast. We'll take our time, so no problem. And we're ready and geared up to be caring for the baby until Hsiao-quai is prepared to take over.
As Bulu nods off, Hsiao-quai can't resist popping in to have a peek. She looks tempted, but only time will tell whether she's prepared to take him on. Bulu is just one of many recent arrivals at the park. 4 more new monkeys look like they've been given a new lease of life. Little Red and her daughter Basset were rehomed from a pub in Cheshire, along with 2 male marmosets called Brass and Evie. The landlord of the pub was moving out and couldn't take them with him. He wanted them to live in a more natural environment. At first, all 4 were kept together as a family unit. But once the group were given more space, the 2 boys started competing for Little Red's affections. So it was decided to move the 2 girls in with a male common marmoset called Rattler. Brass and Evie, whose species are unknown, were left together. And they seem much more settled. They're loving the freedom of their new enclosure.
It's really good because it's got natural plants such as budbio which attract insects, which makes up part of their diet. Got quite a lot of foliage in as well because they don't want to be stared at by the public. They are quite nervous animals. So it means that they can move around, the public can see them, but they're not, you know, fully on show and they feel quite comfortable in this enclosure.
The 2 boys have made huge progress.
The difference in Brass and Evie from when they first arrived at the park is amazing. They're doing so much better. When they came, they were quite nervous, they were quite thin, underweight, and their fur was really patchy as well. But now they look amazing. Their fur looks great, it's silky and glossy and not patchy at all, and it's come through really thick. They've put on loads of weight, they're almost on the chubby side now, so we've dialed their diet down a little bit. And they seem really happy, they're happy to be around us. They don't like a lot of attention, but they're quite happy, so the change is really, really good to see.
Like the Cheshire marmosets, sometimes primates have to be split up because relationships within the group break down. Recently, Capuchin Erico had to be removed from Winslow's group because he'd been having a few issues with the leader. It's thought he was responsible for Winslow's gash, which landed him in hospital. He's now joined Sean's group and has actually taken over as the boss. Capuchins are the cleverest of all small monkeys, and today, Jenny's putting out a challenge for them. Pomegranates may not look tricky to handle, but the monkeys have never had whole ones before. They'll need to use their brains and their sharp teeth to get into them. Jenny's making it as difficult as possible. Low-ranking Caesar is first out. But his buddy Phoebe spots an easy picking before he has a chance to grab one. Ringo has managed to sink his teeth into a pomegranate, but is easily defeated. It seems that the low rankers in the group are getting the first shout at the fruit, which is unusual. Erico, it appears, has his mind on more important matters. Zoe is in season, and he's keen to impress her. He tries to play it cool, but rushes after her in hot pursuit. Erico's dad Archie, meanwhile, has his eyes firmly on the prize. While his son is chasing the ladies, he's going to tackle the hardest challenge of them all, the fruit in the hanging basket. But it's got the better of him. Marlowe's made his life much easier by picking one up from the floor. But old boy Archie isn't giving up without a fight. Capuchins have very nimble fingers, which allow them to easily grab hold of fruit like this. But how to get it out of the basket is the question. Beaten again, he spots one just below. Becky has now taken up the challenge, while Archie's perseverance has finally paid off. Back in the tunnel, Erico is still trying to woo Zoe, but getting nowhere. However, Zoe's departure has left the way clear for Scarlet, who's also in season and has her sights set on Erico. She tries hard to attract his attention, but he blanks her. Undeterred, the bold Capuchin makes her move, but bottles it. It seems everyone has got what they want, apart from Scarlet. But she's tenacious and has noticed that Sean has joined Erico in the tunnel. Surely her luck must be in now. At Oaska's woolly monkey house, there's been a hive of activity because Xingu has had her baby. The newborn is just a few days old and seems to be thriving. The proud mum is taking it all in her stride and stepping up to the challenge.
We've finally got our baby that we've been waiting for a very long time. Xingu has finally given birth. Both are doing fantastically well. Baby looks big and strong, and mum looks big and strong as well, so it's all good.
The team is being extra vigilant as Xingu lost her first baby due to a congenital abnormality.
One of the first things we look for is that it's gripping on tightly to mum. Any sign of weakness is obviously a sign that there's a bit of a problem there, because it really should be gripping onto mum very, very tightly indeed. And it's doing that, so we're happy about that. And then the next thing we start to look for is whether it's suckling.
It's Dad Owaska's second child, and he seems delighted. Any baby woolly is a welcome addition, as they're seriously endangered in captivity. But Owaska's offspring are particularly important because he was wild-caught, and he's therefore introducing a new and unrelated bloodline into the tiny captive population.
Oscar is fantastic. He's always been a brilliant dad. We actually seen Oscar trying to play with it already. Obviously Xingu didn't allow that to happen, but he is sticking very close by to Xingu and the baby. He's making sure that both are okay. He keeps going over, having a little look, having a little sniff. Sometimes we've even seen him try to give it a little lick or a little snuffle. And yeah, very, very attentive and very protective.
The team are keen to let Xingu do things her way, so for the time being are taking a step back. Meanwhile, at Levar's house, another baby woolly who was rejected by his real mum seems to have found a foster mum. Kuna has taken Bueno Jr under her wing. It's great news for Junior, who had to be hand-reared by the staff. He's only just joined the group full-time. He climbs on her back as babies do with their mums, and she keeps an eye out for him. Kuna has surprised everyone with her maternal instincts. She's had 3 children herself, but they all had to be hand-reared because she wouldn't feed them. Woolies learn a lot from their mums, so it's great that Junior finally has someone to look up to. And it means that with Kuna around, it's safe for Junior to go out into the big forested enclosure. This is a big deal for such a tiny woolly. He pops out his head for a nervous first peek. Kuna sidles past him, and then he has to dodge the others, who come thick and fast. It's all a bit daunting, so he stays put. Until he sees Paquita, who's a bit overbearing. He quickly scrambles out of the tunnel and hides at the bottom of the fence. When the coast is clear, he makes his way back into the safety of the tunnel. But watching everyone have fun outside tempts him to give it another go. However, he's too scared to venture any further. Kuna suddenly appears to reassure him, and he gratefully jumps on her back. With Kuna by his side, he braves it again. But he keeps his prehensile tail firmly wrapped around the hose, ready to dart back in when he loses his nerve. And now, Kuna's disappeared. Junior still has a lot to learn. And it's not easy without a full-time mum. The first few steps are always the most difficult. Next time, he'll no doubt take a few more. Although there have been plenty of babies recently, the park also has its fair share of oldies. Elderly Mica is now the only patas monkey at the park because her partner Sissy Joe recently passed away. The team were in a quandary about what to do, as they didn't want her to be on her own. So they started looking around for a potential housemate. Old boy Lemur George had been living separately from the rest of the ringtails for a while because he didn't really get on with them. He's elderly and couldn't be bothered with their antics. The keepers moved him into his own house next door, so he could still see the others, but was left alone. After a lot of thought, the team decided to pair them up and have moved George into Mica's enclosure. It was a gamble because they are a rather unusual couple. Lemurs come from Madagascar and patas monkeys from Africa, but it does seem to be working. Mica loves grooming George and follows him around. George doesn't exactly reciprocate, but he does appear to enjoy Mica's company and her grooming skills. Patas monkeys are the fastest primates on land, reaching speeds of up to 55 kilometers per hour. You wouldn't guess that from watching Mica, though, who's taking life at a much more relaxed pace these days. They're certainly the odd couple, but it's great that they both have company in their twilight years. Mica has a much easier time with George than she did with her previous partner, Sissy Joe, who used to constantly tell her off. And George, well, he's probably grateful he's no longer being hounded by the younger ringtails. At the Stumpie enclosure, there's a big love-in going on. The ugly monkeys, as they're affectionately known here, are having a mass grooming session. Grooming is an essential part of macaque behaviour and very popular in this group.
It's really important for these guys, like with a lot of primates, to spend time grooming. It forms friendships, it strengthens bonds. So they do spend a lot of time doing that and obviously keeps their skin nice. They'll pick off any scabs and things like that.
But there is one noticeable absence. Newcomer Flo is feeling a bit peckish, so has gone in search of some sustenance. Flo recently arrived from the German city of Munich, where she was living in an animal shelter. Unfortunately, her partner died, and the staff there didn't want her to be on her own, so asked Monkey World to give her a home. Flo's a normal weight for a stumpy, but the other macaques are on the heavy side, as they were rescued from laboratories where they were used for research and kept in very small cages where they didn't get enough exercise. This has caused a problem for the keepers, as they have to be careful not to overfeed them, but at the same time give Flo enough to sustain her weight. So they sneakily give her extras while the others aren't looking.
If they saw us feeding Flo, they wouldn't be best pleased about it because they would want everything that she was getting. So we just have to take the opportunity when they're not watching what's going on, then we can come down here. And Flo does like hanging out down at the bottom of the enclosure, so it's quite nice to take the opportunity at that point to give her some extra nice food. And the other guys don't realise she's having it, so they're not bothered.
Stumpies have a strict hierarchy and aren't known for being particularly friendly. So Flo has had her work cut out to be accepted in this group. But she's wisely started at the bottom and has befriended lowly Phil first, who can't believe his luck. Once the others retire inside, the two meet for a secret grooming session.
It is really nice to see Phil and Flo together. Flo lost her partner when she was living in Germany, so it's coming over here, and it has taken a few months for her to get up the confidence to groom someone else, and she really did have to make that first step. She has only lived with one other Stumptown macaque her whole life, so to meet these guys, it was a big ask for her, really, and she's done amazingly well. Bill is a very low-ranking male in this group, probably now the lowest, and he did lose Paddy not so long ago, so it is nice for him to have a friendship as well, so they are getting on really well, and it's really nice to see.
Next time on Monkey Life, a heartbreaking decision for the team when Bart's mum Susie is taken to the hospital.
It looks to me as if she may have a heart problem.
And the keepers take over the care of baby Bulu. Today on Monkey Life. Worrying times for the team when Bart's mum Susie is taken to the hospital.
It looks to me as if she may have a heart problem.
Bueno Jr. celebrates his first birthday.
Who's coming first? The birthday boy? Go on, Junior. Your boy.
And with no foster mum coming forward, the keepers take over the care of baby Bulu. Monkey World in Dorset, set deep in the English countryside, is the largest sanctuary of its kind on the planet. The team, led by Dr. Alison Cronin, rescues and rehabilitates abused and unwanted primates from all over the world.
This is going to be the first day that they've ever stepped outside, ever in their lifetime.
The park provides a home for more than 240 monkeys and apes. Its aim is to give them as happy and natural a life as possible. The chimp team have become increasingly worried about Bart's mum, Susie. Over the last few weeks, they've noticed she's become rather lethargic and her breathing quite laboured. She's also been off her food. So they decided to take her to the park's hospital and get vets John Lewis and Dave Harding to take a look at her.
It looks to me as if she may have a heart problem. So we're just getting ready to go and anaesthetize her, and we're bringing her up here to do some scanning, x-rays, ultrasound, etc. Try and find out exactly what's the problem.
John is aware of the risks, but believes the procedure is necessary.
Chimps under anaesthesia, I lost count of how many times we've done it. I wouldn't consider that to be a big deal. A chimp with heart failure under anaesthesia might be a bit more tricky.
The primate care staff, who know Susie well, have managed to inject her by hand, so she's already asleep. This is much less stressful for Susie than it would have been if John had had to intervene.
Forget weighing her right now, let's get a tube.
The veterinary team usually weigh all animals that come to the hospital, but they don't want any delays with Susie. Dave performs the ultrasound first, a scan of her heart, and immediately spots something sinister.
Ooh, John. No.
Whoa!
Can we just have the light out, please?
Yeah.
The scan shows some sort of mass near the heart, which shouldn't be there.
It's a lump. That doesn't mean a tumour, it's a mass in the, yeah.
Although it may not be a tumour, it's not good. And everyone suddenly realises this is very serious.
It's interior, it's on the right-hand side of the heart. If I had to say, I'd say it's more likely to be a mass than anything else because it's so dense. Yeah, the body's struggling to get into the right atrium.
And not in a good place. Medications? No?
Diuretic symptomatically, but...
It's a terrible outcome. Dave thinks Susie's heart condition is inoperable. They decide to take an X-ray to see if that will give them more of an idea of what's going on.
You can't see the heart as expected on that, John. It's just pure fluid, so...
There's so much fluid around Susie's chest that Dave can't see her heart. So they do one more ultrasound. They want to be as sure as they can that they've got this diagnosis correct and haven't missed anything.
You see it's quite a large area of the right atrium is occupied by that mass. And this is the blood vessel, the vena cava coming into the right atrium here. And that mass is right sitting over where it should come in. So it's blocking blood flow coming back into the heart.
And there's no chemotherapy, drugs?
Unlikely. Further, other than, yeah, I think it's trying to make her comfortable and freezamide or some sort of diuretic.
What a shame.
What I suggest you do is we bring her round and then give her fairly heavy diuretics and see what that does clinically to her. Okay. With absolutely no guarantee of much improvement at all, but just to see. It depends how rapidly that's growing.
The team are desperate to help Susie, but there's not much they can do.
It's really just about as bad a prognosis as we could come up with, and it's terrible because I was hoping that if she had a mass, a tumor, whatever it might be inside, that it would be external to any of her organs and that we would be able to operate and remove it, but today's not our day.
Difficult decisions are going to have to be made now because Susie's children, Bart and Eddi, are very close to their mum. The team are going to have to think of the best way to look after them, as well as Susie. All primates need their mothers when they're young, but sometimes it's just not possible. Baby woolly monkey Bueno Jr. had to be hand-reared when he was born because his mum rejected him after a traumatic birth. But he's now living with Lavar's group full-time and is settling in well. Today, he's celebrating his first birthday, and because he's had such a difficult year, the primate care staff have decided to do something special.
We've got him loads of presents all wrapped up, just full of really tasty treats, dried fruits, nuts, cereals, things like that. Things they normally get in their scatter, but we've just made it a little bit special today by popping it in some nice wrapped up presents. So we're gonna fill it all in the playroom and hope he really enjoys it.
The team are constantly thinking of ways to make life more interesting for the monkeys and apes who live here. They regularly give them enrichment to keep them busy, or to make them work a bit harder for their food.
The Junior really likes the cargo net, so I'm just going to make sure we've got some up at the top, because he's much happier up high than he is down on the ground.
Today, the whole group will be invited to Junior's party.
Who's coming first? The birthday boy? Go on, Junior. Your boy.
It may be Junior's birthday, but that doesn't mean he gets first choice of the presents. The others are older and wiser, and make a mad dash to grab them. The birthday boy hasn't had a look in yet, and seems rather bemused by his celebrations. Kuna, who's been acting as a foster mum to the little Woolly, is quite restrained opening her parcel. Unlike dominant female Paquita, who's already ripped hers open to get to the food. 2-year-old Manny is having a whale of a time with the till rolls the staff have used to decorate the playroom. Finally, the birthday boy has got his hands on a present. Although, like all children, he seems more interested in the packaging than the actual contents of the parcel. Meanwhile, Boss Lavar proves you're never too old to join in the fun. At last, Junior manages to get into the box and find his gift. Fruit and veg make up a large part of the Woolly's diet here at the park. Manny's moved on from the parcels and found one of our cameras to play with now. The celebrations have gone down a storm. It's always the sign of a good party when there's plenty of mess to clear up. For his part, Junior, who isn't quite so little anymore, seems to have got a taste for birthdays. Pity he'll have to wait a year for another one. Junior isn't the only one growing up fast. Golden-cheeked gibbons Tien and Kim are also maturing into adolescence, and their relationship is going from strength to strength. They've developed a very strong bond since being paired up a few months ago. Tien is the older of the two, and the team knew he was ready to leave home because he'd started singing on his own. A sure sign that he was looking for a mate. But Kim was only 5, and there was concern she might be too young. However, she's embraced her new life and seems blissfully happy. She's also now started her colour change. Golden-cheeked gibbons are born blonde. They turn black at approximately a year old, but once they reach maturity at around the age of 5, the females turn blonde again, while the males stay black with golden cheeks. The colour change takes several months to complete. Kim is the first golden-cheeked gibbon to go through both colour changes at the park, as she was born here. Meanwhile, Tien's old family seem to have got used to life without him. His siblings, 5-year-old Tia Nang and 3-year-old Tio, play well together. Like all children, they push the boundaries with their mum and dad. But Peanut and Pungyo take it all in their stride. They're experienced parents and know when to pull in the reins. The team are still trying to come to terms with the devastating news that chimp Susie is terminally ill. She was brought to the park's hospital for an investigation because she was struggling to breathe. The veterinary team discovered she has a serious heart condition.
As soon as we put the ultrasound on the chest and the heart, it was immediately obvious that there was something grossly abnormal in there.
They found a growth which is inoperable. It's stopping blood flowing freely into her heart.
I mean, the prognosis has to be poor, and you know, if you're sticking your neck out, you would say in the region of weeks to months, but you never know, and you like to be proved wrong with these things.
Susie is one of the more dominant female chimps in Paddy's group and is not particularly old. She was brought to Monkey World in 1994 after being rescued from Spain, where she was being used as a beach photographer's prop. While living here, she's had 2 children, a girl called Eddi and mischievous Bart. They're both growing up now and are not totally dependent on her, but they are still close to their mum, and Bart still snuggles up to her at night.
Susie was a natural from the beginning and has brought both Eddi and Bart up just brilliantly, so that they too are strong and confident individuals.
With no hope, the team could have chosen to euthanize Susie while she was in hospital, but they think that will be too much of a shock for Bart and Eddi. They feel the 2 chimps need to see their mum isn't well and is withdrawing from them.
Susie's terminal. She's not going to get better. But if we can manage her so that she feels okay, even though we know she's got a heart that's going to be a problem for her, she might be able to continue for a couple of weeks or something, and then at least Bart and the rest of the group will at least be able to understand what's happening with Susie. So at the moment, it's a balancing act. You know, this is going to be terribly tragic for Paddy's group. Susie's a significant member, and Bart and Eddi are going to be distraught. We'll wait and see. If the medication improves her quality of life and it's a very slow-growing tumor or mass, then maybe she'll have a longer period of time. I suspect that's not going to be the case, though, because the way her condition has progressed quite sharply in the last couple of weeks, I'm not hopeful, but most important now, we have to keep the focus on monitoring Susie's welfare. She has to respond to those diuretics and feel better, or we're going to have to help her out. It's tragic. It's terribly, terribly tragic.
With more than 240 monkeys and apes at the park, the team are constantly having to face tough decisions about the residents here. But their overriding concern is always their welfare.
Hey, sweetie.
Yeah, they're coming.
Over the last 12 months, they've been inundated with requests to take in marmosets, many of them victims of the British pet trade.
One tiny little fall and he'd shatter into 1 million pieces.
A new marmoset complex was built to house them, but it quickly filled up. So more building work is now underway. However, the team know that even that won't be big enough to care for the number of monkeys who need to be rescued. So, reluctantly, they're having to say goodbye to some marmosets who they've rehabilitated and find new homes for them at other wildlife centres.
We literally have every single marmoset room we have filled at the moment. There is no room to spare, and unfortunately there are still an awful lot of marmosets in the UK pet trade waiting to receive our help. So we've had to make the really hard decision to let one of our family groups move on to a new home, which is not something that we ideally would want to do, but like I say, we've got some cases that really need our specialist help, so it's a decision that we've had to make. Come Rio.
Bubble, Squeak and their baby son Rio are going to Twycross Zoo in Warwickshire. They've been chosen because they're a very happy, close-knit group, and the team are confident they'll do well there. Bubble and Squeak were confiscated by the RSPCA from a house in Stourbridge in the West Midlands 2 years ago. Squeak was already pregnant and gave birth to Rio soon after arriving at the park. As this is their last day, they're being given some tasty grubs, which they love.
Locusts are particular favourites of the marmosets. Obviously, extra big and juicy things are always going to catch their interest. They can be quite good fun as well. Obviously, when they start hopping around the enclosure, they've really got to have a good hunt for these guys sometimes to capture them. So yeah, we try and give them locusts quite often as an extra treat. Here we go then, guys. Come on then.
Bubble immediately spots one of the locusts and tries to grab it. His son Rio moves closer, eager to learn from his dad. Squeak, meanwhile, is quicker off the mark and is already chomping away. Rio has followed in his father's footsteps and managed to get one for himself.
Rio's very inquisitive, really interested in anything that's going on, but Squeak and Bubble are a little more wary, so they keep a close eye out. They're usually the first ones to alarm call if they see anything a bit strange. But yeah, they certainly keep a very close eye on Rio.
Bubble, Squeak and Rio have been lucky. They were rescued and will now live out their lives happily together in a safe environment. But not all marmosets are so fortunate. Until stronger laws are brought in insisting on better standards of care in the British pet trade, primates like these will continue to suffer. As one family leaves the park, another primate is just settling in and causing chaos in the process. Baby orang Bulu Mata was brought over from Budapest Zoo a week ago. Sadly, his mum died a few days after he was born, and so it was decided the best place for him to grow up would be Monkey World. The park has the European creche for orphaned orangutans, and the team have a lot of experience looking after youngsters. It was hoped that Hsiao-quai, who's very maternal, would take Bulu under her wing, as she did Awan a few years ago. But despite showing an initial interest in him, she's so far declined the offer. So for now, at least, it's going to be down to the primate care staff to look after him 24/7. And he's certainly keeping them on their toes.
I think everyone would love the thought of looking after a baby orangutan, but believe me, it's a lot harder than it seems. It's just like a newborn baby, really, and you have to be completely dedicated to him and be at his beck and call, basically, while he's this young. And it's tough. It's very tiring.
The team don't want Bulu to get too attached to any one person, so there's a small group of 4 carers who are dedicated to him. This will make it easier when they eventually move him in with the other orangs.
He's still not able to even stand for himself, he can't even sit for himself. He's quite clumsy still, so not very mobile yet. And yeah, that's the reason why we are actually hand-rearing him now.
The staff want to familiarise him with his future housemates, so he spends most of his time at the nursery, although he still has plenty of naps. And just like any other baby, they can't leave him alone. So wherever his carer goes, he goes too. Whether it's up on the roof to feed his prospective playmates,
We're going out. Be quick.
or outside to persuade them to come in when it's time for bed.
Come on, Kai. Come on, Hsiao-quai. Here we go.
Come on.
It's quite tiring. They sleep a lot, but they wake up a lot as well, so we don't sleep that much when we're taking care of them. And it's high maintenance, baby orang. So, yeah, we kind of, that's why we're still hoping that Hsiao-quai is going to eventually take care of him for us.
Demanding he may be, but he's also adorable. And at the end of a long day, they always make sure there's time left for a play session before he goes to sleep.
He's really started to develop a character now. He's very smiley. He's always been very laid back, so takes things in his stride. He's been very good in introducing him to new keepers, with the surroundings of the nursery, with all those new orangutans to familiarise himself with. But anything we can do that's going to help us to put him back and reintroduce him back to orangs as soon as we can, that's the best thing we can do for him.
But unless Hsiao-quai has a change of heart, Kate and Louise could be in this for the long haul. Next time on Monkey Life, Alison heads to the Maldives to rescue a slow loris caught up in a drugs raid.
I'm not sure. This might be a lady.
And Capuchin Joanne outwits Jeremy when he tries to take her to the hospital.
Can you shut the door? Well done.
This time on Monkey Life, Alison heads to the Maldives to rescue a slow loris confiscated during a drugs raid.
I'm not sure. This might be a lady.
But he puts up a fight when Alison tries to move him.
You undo his hands from the other side?
And Jeremy is outwitted by Capuchin Joanne when he tries to take her to the hospital.
You know this game, don't you?
Monkey World in Dorset, set deep in the English countryside, is the largest sanctuary of its kind on the planet. For more than 25 years, the team, led by Dr. Alison Cronin, has rescued and rehabilitated abused and unwanted primates from all over the world.
We'll take good care of his monkeys.
The park provides a home for more than 214 monkeys and apes. Its aim is to give them a safe and happy life in as natural an environment as possible. Monkey World has an eclectic mix of primates. There are now 21 different species here, ranging from chimpanzees and orangutans to stump-tailed macaques and cotton-top tamarins. If a primate is in trouble, the park does its best to help. Today, Alison has a long journey ahead of her. She's flying off to the Maldives to rescue yet another different species of primate, a Bengal slow loris, which has been confiscated by the authorities during a drugs raid. The nocturnal loris originates from Southeast Asia. Loris are protected under the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species, or CITES, which the Maldives has recently signed up to. Unfortunately, the authorities don't know where the loris has come from, so can't release it back into the wild. Alison is keen to encourage the Maldives to continue to enforce CITES. So even though the park has no nocturnal facilities, she's agreed to look after the loris while it's quarantined.
Here I am at Gatwick Airport to go collect the Bengal loris and bring it back to Britain, because the governments around the world that enforce the treaties that protect endangered species need assistance. If they're going to enforce the laws, they need somewhere for these confiscated animals to go to. And Monkey World's going to be the home for the next 4 months for this slow loris.
Alison is flying more than 5,000 miles to reach the Maldives, which lie in the Indian Ocean. The archipelago is made up of more than 1,000 islands. As soon as she arrives, it's straight down to business. Armed with a travelling crate to take the loris back to the UK, she heads off to the capital, Male, to meet with the Environment Minister. Alison's been asked to appear at a press conference and has agreed, seeing it as a good opportunity to promote CITES within the Maldivian community. Although Monkey World can't look after the loris long term, her plan is to pair it with a loris at another British wildlife centre.
Monkey World is able to help, so I have offered, in the spirit of enforcing CITES, to come here and take the loris back to England, and then eventually it will be paired with another one of its own kind. We believe this to be a male loris, and we have a home for it in England with a female loris, so he will have a wife.
With her formal duties over and paperwork complete, Alison heads to Dooney-Doo, or Prison Island as it's better known, to finally meet the loris.
Thank you.
She has no idea what state the little primate will be in. Although they've tried their best, the authorities admit they don't know how to care for it and have mistakenly been giving it fruit and milk.
Hello, my friend. You good wee man?
Alison is relieved to see the loris is alive, but its lost condition living in a birdcage.
Hi, you. You're a good boy. It is very unnatural just for him to get milk and bananas, but he has survived okay.
The police have called him Buddy, presuming he's male. But on closer inspection, Alison has her doubts.
I'm not sure. This might be a lady. This is a common problem with this species and also with gibbon species. The lady's parts look very much like a man's. I am not 100%. We will confirm at Monkey World, but I am happy that for now it is a boy.
Yeah.
And we will check.
Yeah, that's why it's Buddy, the name. If it is a lady, you can call Lady Buddy, okay?
So Lady Buddy he may turn out to be. Alison is just happy to see that they've done a great job enforcing the law and caring for him. Or her.
Keeping a confiscated loris so well here in the Maldives when they really didn't know anything about them. So job well done here.
The next challenge is to get Buddy back to the UK. Back in Dorset, it's business as usual. And today the team has called in the services of wildlife vet John Lewis to take a look at one of the Capuchins. Joanne has developed a persistent limp, which it's thought was triggered by a fall she had last summer.
Immediately after the fall, she wasn't able to use her left leg. Over the next few months, the lameness came and went, got worse, got better on just medical treatments, but it's never gone away. So we're going to X-ray that whole leg in case she did do something that we can help her with.
But to take her to the hospital, they're going to have to sedate her. And that isn't as easy as it sounds. First, someone will need to catch her in a net. And that task has fallen to animal manager Jeremy Keeling.
She looks vicious, Jeremy.
John has known Jeremy for years and delights in winding him up.
I can get through there otherwise.
He decides his only chance of success is to go in with her.
I'm going through, so shut the bottom.
I'm worried about you.
But unfortunately, the slide is meant for Capuchins and isn't big enough for Jeremy.
Come on, Jeremy, today would be good. Oh, he's going to swing in legs first. Radical.
Like all Capuchins, Joanne is very bright and is not going to make this easy for Jeremy.
Are you all right, Jeremy?
You shut the door. Well done.
She's behind you.
Joanne is just too smart. Finally, Jeremy manages to get into the same room as the little monkey, and battle commences.
You know this game, don't you?
She has no intention of being caught. But as she dives into a corner, John spots an opportunity to sedate her. She's cornered.
Ready? She's had it.
Oh, well done.
It's done. Now the pressure is on Jeremy to catch her before she passes out and falls.
Good.
His perseverance finally pays off, and the team wastes no time in getting her into surgery. Once he's happy that she's stable, John turns his attention to Joanne's bad leg.
Wow, she lost a lot of muscle off the left leg. There's every chance that's a dislocated leg. And you see they're not the same length.
John decides to do some x-rays to confirm his suspicions.
Wow. Well, the hips are very different. One as far forward as you can get it, one as far back. The right hip looks normal. The left hip looks degenerated.
It looks as though Joanne's bones have grown around the hip joint to try to compensate for the displacement.
If you have a partly dislocated joint, there's more instability in the joint. Instead of being a ball in a tight socket, let's say it's a ball in a loose socket, there's often bony proliferation around the edges of that joint to try and stabilize it. It's a way of the body trying to stabilize the joint. And it looks as if
You've got a lot of bony reaction here. That looks like a very old injury, probably before it arrives at Monkey World. Now, whether it's worth trying to operate is another matter, and it probably isn't.
So they're going to leave Joanne's leg as it is. But while she's asleep, they take the opportunity to treat her injured foot. Capuchins often get wounds because they have sharp teeth. John also notices something else he can help with.
the upper left canine here has been broken for some time. There's an exposure of the root canal that allows infection to travel up the tooth, and sometimes they end up with sinuses breaking out on the face as a result, so we're just going to remove it. And we got it. An interesting thing about that root, it has a very rounded end to it, and not a sharp, pointy end. That's because infection is up there, so that alone is justification for removing it.
So they may not have helped Joanne with her limp, but it's been a worthwhile trip to the hospital.
Well, that's it, really. Life's tough as a Capuchin, I suppose.
Alison is in the Maldives, where preparations are underway to transport the slow loris back to the UK. It's been a huge international effort to rescue him.
Quite frankly, this loris doesn't even belong at Monkey World because we don't have slow loris. But what I've agreed to do is organize everything for the transport of the loris, get it back to the park where it will have to do 4 months quarantine for rabies. And then after we quarantine it at Monkey World, I've arranged for it to find a mate and a home at a neighboring wildlife park in Devon called Sheldon. So it's really had quite a journey, and there's still a ways to go.
Although Monkey World doesn't usually look after loris, its sister sanctuary in Vietnam, Dao Tien, does. So the team do have a lot of experience in caring for these Southeast Asian primates. Alison wants to make sure Buddy, as he's known at the moment, has plenty of food for the journey home.
Okay, baby foods, full-fat milk, a pot to mix it in. But I also bought one dragon fruit, also good loris food, so a few small pieces of dragon fruit.
Alison wants to keep things as normal as possible for Buddy until he arrives back in the UK, so isn't making too many changes to his diet just yet. To get him from his cage into the travel crate, Alison enlists the help of a policeman.
You can try and get him on a branch. Hey, you. Come on.
This isn't going to be easy. Buddy seems reluctant to move.
Come, baby.
Yeah, I don't know that he will like that.
Unusually for a mammal, a loris has a toxic bite to ward off predators, so Alison is being particularly cautious.
Should I just grab him?
Come.
Yeah, there he is trying to bite me.
A little gentle persuasion is going to be necessary.
You undo his hands from the other side. Undo his hands, quickly.
Buddy is standing his ground.
He is coming, I think, the one who looks after.
Okay. Last hounds. See, he is friendly when you are just stroking. He's not used to being held, so.
I'm happy to see this day that it is going with a safe handling to a safe place. After people hearing about this slow loris, I'm sure that people will think not to smuggle like this.
Alison is certainly hoping her trip will reinforce that message. And so the long journey back to Dorset begins. Alison and Buddy are causing quite a stir at the airport. She's doing final checks to make sure he's secure and has plenty of water before he's loaded onto the plane.
The fact that he was biting me through the glove and I could feel it on my finger and on my thumb, I think he probably does have a good set of teeth in there, which is excellent news. It means that the people who caught him for the pet trade haven't broken off all of his teeth. So once again, another good sign that he's really fit and healthy and has a good future ahead of him.
This is a big moment for Alison. It's taken months of negotiation and liaison with international governments and agencies to organise this rescue. Even airlines have gone the extra mile to help little Buddy. At the airport apron, the captain comes to check on his special cargo and welcome Buddy aboard.
So that was just fantastic. That was the captain of the plane. He's really interested in the loris. He's going to make sure everything goes really smoothly. Loris has just been loaded up into cargo hold 5. It's going to have a nice heated area. And really all it needs right now is to be quiet and left alone because this is very scary. So a lot of noise and I think it's time for all of us to get on the plane and get going. It's about time to take off. Really happy. Start getting emotional now. It's fantastic.
With Buddy safely in the cargo hold, Alison can finally relax. She's one step closer to getting the little loris back to Dorset. Rescues are an important part of the work Monkey World does, but the rehabilitation afterwards is just as important. It's vital the animals learn to mix with others of their own kind. On the whole, all the groups of primates get on well, but it doesn't take much to tip the balance. One group that's had a lot of upheaval recently is Hananya's gang of chimps. First, second-in-command Tico looked like he was challenging Hananya for the leadership, which unsettled the group. Then Cherri gave birth to twins, but sadly lost one, which was upsetting for them. However, things seem to have calmed down now, although some squabbling has left a few of the chimps with cuts and scrapes. Today they've been given some Hessian sacks to play with. And if they manage to get inside them, there'll be lots of treats in store. Meanwhile, Cherri's surviving twin Thelma is growing fast and is into everything. She's started to explore the enclosure and is becoming more independent by the day. Cherri has risen to the challenge of motherhood and seems to be relishing the time with her baby daughter. She has a lot of help from Thelma's self-appointed aunts and uncles. Low-ranking Arthur adores Thelma, and is always happy to give Cherri a break. While Shamak, ever the comedian, tries to entertain the youngster by turning upside down and generally acting the clown. Peggy is a good friend to Cherri, so while Shamak plays with Thelma, she pops over to keep her company. Babies are important in chimp society, and Thelma is definitely proving to be a great tonic for the group. It's the early hours of the morning, and the plane carrying Alison and Buddy the Loris from the Maldives has finally touched down in London. Alison is anxious to make sure Buddy has coped with the flight.
Mind your step. Can I just have one look while you're holding it up? Hey, little man. Yeah, he's looking right around. He's looking really good. Can't be happier. He's alert. He's looking up. He was moving around, checking it out. He has the fresh air on his face. He looks fantastic, so he's made the journey really well. And he's changed position, too, so I don't know whether that just happened now, but he might have been moving around in the night.
As with all arrivals, Buddy has to go through the Animal Reception Centre to make sure all his paperwork is in order. There, it's decided his travelling crate has to be put into an extra box to comply with quarantine regulations.
Right. Box in a box. Yeah.
While Alison has been away, the team at Monkey World have prepared a special quarantine room for Buddy, where he'll spend the next 4 months. And to make him feel at home, they've put lots of tasty grubs in there.
Hey, you. Are you pretending you're asleep, little man?
Loris are nocturnal, but Buddy's body clock may well be out of sync with all the travelling.
It's going to just take him a little time to relax, and that's just fine. No problem whatsoever. We know he's okay in there, and he can walk out in his own time, hopefully find his way up through the branches. But I think if we clear out of here and turn the light off, there's a chance he might come out, especially hearing all of the crickets and locusts that are back in the corner. That might also sort of stir him up and make him want to come out and check things out. For right now, time for him to relax.
After a grueling journey, Buddy is finally left alone. But the team put the infrared cameras on when they leave, so they can see whether he comes to life once the lights go out. And lo and behold, when he's sure no one's around, he does start to explore. Buddy, if indeed he does turn out to be a he and not a she as Alison suspects, has been lucky. He has a new life to look forward to with a new partner. But many other primates like him aren't so fortunate. They're caught up in the pet trade all over the world, which is why the CITES Treaty, which protects wildlife, is so important. Next time on Monkey Life. The team have a tough decision to make about Bart's mum, Chimp Susie.
This morning's the day, and it's just terribly hard to face up to.
And round-the-clock care for baby Bulu.